Senator John Edwards, welcome to your show. We have a lot of questions from our viewers. One of the things you came here to talk about in Denver was your anti-poverty campaign, cutting poverty in half in 10 years, eliminating it in a generation. And Virginia Taylor wants to know, to what or whom do you attribute the current economic slowdown?
I think it's caused by a variety of things. Energy problems, gas prices. I think here in America, our tax system has gotten distorted, so that middle-class families are carrying way too much tax burden, and there's been a lot of breaks for the wealthiest Americans, and I think that's had a dramatic effect on the economy. But some of it's just what's happening globally, and energy prices are playing a huge role.
You mentioned the middle class. We have a question from Kathy Lott. Excuse me, and she wants to know, what would or could you do to help Americans in this economy with high gas prices, them having difficult decisions, meeting their basic needs? So what can you do to help those families who are still struggling to make ends meet?
That's a long answer. We got to do something about the gas prices. We need to transform the way we use energy in America so that people get relief on these prices at the pump. We got to hold oil companies accountable for what they're charging people for their oil. We have to give tax relief, serious tax relief to middle-class families that are having trouble making ends meet. We need to transform our health care system, because health care costs are such an enormous burden on working middle-class families, so that they're no longer having to spend so much or having to pay the doctor's bill or hospital bill when they go to the doctor if they don't have any coverage. Those are some of the simple things we need to do. I would also raise the minimum wage. Actually, Colorado's already done that, but it's just something we should be doing nationally.
Americans, of course, talking about the presidential race, and Linda Lee from Louisville wants to know, what contrast do you see between Senators McCain and Obama on the issues of the war in Iraq and Afghanistan, and what current involvement, how does our current involvement in those two areas affect our domestic needs?
Well, I can answer both those questions. First, there's a dramatic difference between Senator Obama and Senator McCain on the war. Senator McCain was a powerful proponent, supporter of the war from the beginning, powerful supporter of the surge, has made statements like we could be in Iraq for as long as 100 years. Senator Obama was opposed to the war from the beginning, opposed to the surge, and has said he will get American troops out over a period of roughly 16 months. So I think there's a really dramatic difference between the two in their approach to the war. If you want to see the war brought to an end responsibly over a period of time, not immediately or abruptly, Senator Obama is your candidate. Now, the other question you asked?
The other question is, how does that affect our domestic issues being in both Iraq and Afghanistan?
Well, we're spending hundreds of billions of dollars in Iraq, money that could be used for so many things here at home, for public education, for infrastructure, for job creation, helping middle-class families, all health care. These are all big issues facing families in America every day, and we're pouring hundreds of billions of dollars into a war that we have no idea how long it's going to last.
We have another really interesting question from Josh Cunningham of Lakewood. He wants to know, when we help those other nations, such as Iraq and Afghanistan, why don't we use our three-branch system of government and implement that into those nations?
Well, it's a complicated question. In Iraq and Afghanistan, I think what America has done is try to provide advice. Basically what they're asking is, why don't we just make sure they have the same kind of government we have, as I understand the question. But I don't think it's for America to decide how another country or how the people of another country govern themselves. We can give advice. We can help them. We certainly want to promote democracy and freedom, the things that are core to who we are. But at the end of the day, they get to decide how they're going to govern themselves and what kind of government they're going to have.
We got to move to the question of the day. A lot of viewers reflect this question from Karen and Thornton. She wants to know, why did you walk away so soon from the presidential race? She said she would have voted for you, and she said you weren't that far in the points, so why did you leave?
Well, thank you to her for saying she would have voted for me. I came to the conclusion that it would be extraordinarily difficult for me to get the nomination given where things were. I don't think I was completely out of it. I agree with that. But I believe, shows you how smart I am, I believe that the longer the nomination process dragged out, if I stayed in it, the odds were overwhelming it would go close to the convention. And the longer it dragged out, the more damage we were going to do to the Democrats, whoever won, chances of winning in the fall. And I wanted to see this thing brought to an end so that we could get a nominee and be strong for the fall. Now, shows you how great a predictor I was. Look how long the nomination went between Senator Clinton and Senator Obama. But that was the reason.